My guest today is the winner of the prestigious Crystal Nymph Award at the Monte Carlo Television Festival. That award pays tribute to her 40 years in the industry as the star of iconic shows and movies like House of Cards, The Princess Bride, and Forrest Gump. Robin Wright, welcome.
Thank you.
What went through your mind when you heard you were getting this honor here at the Monte Carlo Television Festival?
What a beautiful thing, because of what the nymph represents. Because it recognizes or celebrates the contributions of the individual toward this industry that we're in. And I thought, yes, of course it's an honor. It's amazing. It's amazing to be celebrated for your body of work.
And is this a part of the world that you're familiar with or that you have a particular affinity with, whether it's personally, cinematically, professionally?
I've been here many times for the Cannes Film Festival. So yeah, I love coming back here. I've never really been to Monte Carlo. You just feel like, you know, James Bond in the 60s is going to drive up any second, because architecturally it's still a little bit stuck in the 60s, 70s, parts of it. It's beautiful here.
And like you said, you've been in this industry for some 40 years, and it always seems like you've been very selective in what you choose to do. Has that always been a choice for you to work that way?
Pretty much when I was able to do so, you know, get some years under your belt. I was a new mom. I had 2 little kids. I really wanted to be a mom, full on. And that was a necessity, is that, okay, we have to really be strategic about, A, is this going to benefit your career? Is it a great role? Who's the director? Is it different enough from the last role that I did? You know, all that kind of stuff. And is it shooting in the summertime? So that I can be at home taking the kids to school and making their lunch.
And you have had so much success throughout your career in both film and television. Nowadays, many film actors want to do television. It's become the new hot place to be. And you were really right at the start of that with House of Cards in 2013. But when you think back to that time, did anybody advise you not to do it? Say, don't go into television?
Well, I started in TV, so I had experienced it, but it's not really that different if you think about it. It's just a long movie. And because David Fincher was at the helm, and he had said to me, really consider doing this. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to get in a contracted situation. And you never knew from season to season if you were going to get picked up again. So you were in this hiatus every year. But when David said, this is the future, and it just is going to be, so you might want to be a part of launching this new thing called streaming. And what I loved about it is that it gave the viewer the freedom to watch when they wanted and how much they wanted to watch when they watched. And it hadn't been done before because we were coming off box sets.
Is this how you live with yourself? By rationalizing the obscene into the palatable?
You were also a precursor in Hollywood as a whole, because after season 4 of House of Cards, you really fought to get equal pay with the male star, Kevin Spacey. How big a fight was that to achieve that?
It's still a fight. Women are still fighting it. And it's going to take time. You know, Rolla Bauer said it yesterday. She said, we have to keep fighting the fight.
And House of Cards was also where you first started directing. You directed some 10 episodes during that. Was that a difficult transition to make?
It was scary, definitely. But you build such a family on a series. Yes, you do on a film, but it ends after 2-3 months. And today, people are making movies in 30 days. But this was 6 years. Crew becomes your second home. The set becomes your second home. And the camera operator was the one that said, you come over to my camera every single day and ask me 8 million questions about lenses and why are we moving the camera on a 40 lens this way? And he's like, why don't you just direct an episode? Just tell them you want to direct, and I will groom you.
And in addition to all of your work in television, obviously you've had an amazing career in film as well. One of your first big film roles was in The Princess Bride, introducing Robin Wright. How did that feel when you first saw that?
It's kind of daunting. You know, you're sitting in the premiere. It was a 70mm lens at the ArcLight Theater in Los Angeles, and you're seeing yourself for the first time blown up on this huge screen. And you're like, who is that? There's a removal almost. You don't think it's you.
Marriage is what brings us together. to die.
What?
What?
I'm killing myself once we reach the honeymoon suite.
And that film obviously was so iconic, like your other iconic film, Forrest Gump, where you played Jenny. Why do you think each of those films, which are actually on permanent hold now at the U.S. Library of Congress, why have they become so iconic, not just in the U.S., but all over the world?
They're both original pieces of content. If you think about the story, they're not a replicant of something else. And William Goldman's book is just a classic. And I love that Rob just literally deposited all of those great lines and put him in the movie with his comedic timing and the cast that he cast. And they're iconic films for that reason, because they're originals.
She was my most special friend, my only friend.
We was together all the time. We was like peas and carrots, Jenny and I.
And what about the shoot with Tom Hanks on Forrest Gump? A memory that comes out from that?
I don't think I can say it on television.
Oh, come on.
No, I peed in my pants. He made me laugh so hard. And they didn't have a second costume because it was a vintage costume.
All right, that's a good one.
That was it. That's how funny he is. Yeah.
And then 30 years later, you reunited again with the director, Robert Zemeckis, for Here. What was that like, coming back in touch again with him and that team 30 years later?
It was almost like no time had passed, but Tom and I both worked with Bob in between Gump and Here. So it wasn't like there was this 30-year gap. But just being older and having directed, and Tom having directed, it's a different kind of collaboration, because you're talking about scenes, the art. Also, you have a locked off shot in Here. So we really had to be really savvy about how do we be economical, how do we walk into our close-up, it was a different kind of collaboration because you didn't have cuts, didn't have different angles, which saves a director in an editing room.
And your new project now is a new series that's coming out on Amazon in the fall called The Girlfriend. Executive producer, director, and star, that's a lot to do at one time. Why are you so passionate about this project?
I think because it was the first opportunity I was given to develop from the inception. It came from a novel. They gave me the baton and said, okay, we want you to bring your vision to this show. And I wanted to shoot it like a film. So I got to choose my DP and cast the cast who I thought was right. I'd never been able to do that from the ground up.
So in this show, you play a mother whose son brings home a girlfriend that she's not 100% convinced about. Do you find that yourself in life, you have a little bit of that overprotective mother thing going on with your own children?
Of course we do, right? It's inherent in us where you're like, We're very observant of every beat, right? As I'm sure they are of us.
Your children obviously are both working as actors as well. You actually acted with your son in a movie a few years ago, Devil's Peak. Is there a piece of advice that you've given them that you've learned from your 40 years in the business?
Really the only thing, I said, you need to be happy with what you do, not with the final product. You're never going to be happy with your performance. I'm just telling you that right now. I'm never happy with my performance. I said, A, love what you do. If not, get out. And the only advice I said is, there is zero security in this business. So know that going in, that in between jobs, you don't know when that next job will come, if it will come, and you're gonna have to get another job, a service job. That hits hard.
Yeah.
In between movies and you're working at the pizza parlor, you know?
Keeps it real.
Keeps it real.
And you've always been very active in philanthropy as well. Can you just tell me a bit about why the cause in the Democratic Republic of Congo is the one that you chose to throw your image, your weight, your celebrity behind?
Because when it was brought to my attention that women in the Congo were being raped, like a woman was raped every hour. Statistically, they had this on it. And it was because of the minerals in the mines that were around their villages. And because we have devices in our hands all day long, and the minerals are in those phones and those iPads and those computers, in your toasters, in your microwaves, I felt it was our responsibility to get the word out there to electronic companies to put safety on the ground for these women. Because we're not going to stop the militia. we're not going to stop the hamster wheel of the corruption of African leaders. And I just wanted to put my focus on helping the women get their life back on track. With this company, Pour la Femme, that we founded, make it a give back company. And basically our ethos was help a woman in your sleep, because it was women's pajamas. And in the first year, we gave all the proceeds, and we were able to build a community center for the women and their children to live and the women to recover from surgery.
That's amazing. Robin, thank you so much. It's been
Thank
such
you
a
so much.
pleasure.